Hello everyone, and welcome back to Jesse Heck Creative. This time we're taking a look at the Marvel Legends Fantastic Four wave with the Build-A-Figure Super Skrull. As you've probably noticed, there are some figures here that are not in the wave, and those are customs, and I'm going to go over them as we progress throughout the wave from worst to best. So let's get to it. For such a strong wave, it's really hard to pick who goes last. It's Mr. Fantastic. I find that he's a reuse of a body mold that came out a couple years ago, specifically for him, and I just find that he's just, too samey. I mean, I like the deco on the uniforms, which is a good thing to point out. I find that it's good deco on the uniform. They look nice, but it's just, the figure's kind of just there. What are these shoes? They have cleats on them? I like the cleats, kind of. They're cool in practice, but it just doesn't really jive that much with me. He comes with two fists, which, if you can't tell between the fists on the figures, this one has wrinkles, and another pair that I'll show you later doesn't have wrinkles on them. Also, he comes with these, and you can swap them out. But they're kind of like weird fingers. They're like long, they're like tongue fingers. It's kind of strange. There's a panel in the comics that has him typing, and he's doing this. But it reminds me more of the movie where he's on his phone typing. And it's a kind of funny, memorable scene that I remember from the films, at least, the first two. And I like the beard. One point of reference to mention is that you can customize him into a Dan Larson figure. One of the reviewers on YouTube named Dan Larson, who does Toy Galaxy. Hi Dan, if you're watching this, love your channel. He made a custom of himself like this, and I thought I'd make a custom of him as well. So I got a second one of these guys, and they sold the body. And great custom. It's a weirdly done likeness in a way that it's Mr. Fantastic, but it's also Dan Larson, and that's kind of funny to just point out for these guys. Good figure, good body, but it just isn't really, the accessories are very lacking and kind of disappointing to me. Next up is Sue Storm. I really like how the deco is on her. I love the hair. The head is wonderful, but I just don't like how the just the body sort of sits, and here's why. The feet don't really stand that well. And as I do this, she does a perfect stance. Good job. I just find that her standing abilities aren't that great. These heels on Marvel Legends figures need to go. I find that they're not really conductive to good posing on figures, and that it doesn't really function well. There is a saving grace with her that I actually really like, though, and that is this invisible force field effect. It's awesome. It plugs to her hand quite well. There's a different figure that actually has the same kind of hand proportions as her, and it works out quite nicely. It's a little hard to plug in sometimes because you got to figure out top from bottom. Once you plug it in, it should stick quite well. And sorry, it just isn't really that great. Now it fell. Good. Yeah, it's. I like the face. I like this effect. The body is good. The paint is surprisingly good on the fours for all of them. For all the fours is great. There's even back deco on this too. Good figure. Fantastic Four. What else can I say? But worse than the rest. Why not, right? I like Thing a lot. I just don't really like his... he doesn't have any accessories. A different figure of him has hands that are all grabby, and he doesn't have these in the slightest. It's kind of weird that he wouldn't. I don't see why they don't give him hands. I mean, you have to fit two Super Skrull heads in his package. But still, it doesn't really work well with me. I wish that figures given more accessories. That's my main issue. You're able to stand and pose well, and you come with accessories. That is the bottom line for action figures. That's what should happen. You come with a bunch of stuff, either weapons or extra hands or whatever. But yeah, it should be just come with things, okay? Literally, it's the same figure that we had before, but added belt. It's a nice malleable kind of rubber belt. Doesn't really get in the way too much. Doesn't really move too much, which is great. The back looks nice in this guy. There's no paint over here. There's some paint over here on the top. A lot of people are saying he looks like Cheetos, and I'm like, he's kind of a different kind of rock than he is before. I like this kind of paint. It's like sloppy kind of like rock. It's natural. It's more natural, naturally applied, kind of like nature. I mean, the head, I don't know. It's a more classic Thing look for the head. The eyes are kind of wall-eyed. I mean, looking up close, it doesn't look that great, but from afar, it looks better, and off camera, he looks good. I like the paint application on him. A lot of you are probably surprised that this isn't number 2 on the list, and I find that while the deco is really good, the texturing is nice on this jeans, and the shirt is all ripped up and everything, she kind of has a hard time standing sometimes, and you have to really kind of finagle her to pose her, and sometimes you have to kind of stick her butt out a lot to try to like get the poses right, and I just find that it isn't really my thing on that. It's a personal opinion, personal preference. What I do like about her is that she comes with different effects for her hands, different hand posing, and I mean, it's a good figure. I just don't really have a relation to She-Hulk that well, especially this gray version. Hulk to me has always been green, and every other version of Hulk has always been green. But yeah, I like how the green's coming out, though. It's kind of cool. It's like blood or something. There's pockets on the jeans. I mean, the sculpting is nice. I mean, the hair is even colored differently. It's like a little bit of green in the black. The eyes are color cool. She has a scratch on her nose. It looks good, but it's not one of my favorite figures in the wave. She also comes with grabbing hands, and these are useful for like the scare motion, or she can either grab someone, hold them aloft maybe, or she can do that thing where you take one fist and one hand that grabs, and you can sort of motion them as if she's going to punch someone right in the face. And that's pretty cool. It works really nicely, and it's a good accessory, and I'm glad they included these hands with her. Human Torch is one of my first Marvel Legends figures way back in the Toy Biz days, and I'm glad to get another version of him right now. I love the head. This guy has great articulation. He's on the Sunfire body, so he has butterfly joints and a whole great range of movement. I wish he came with some blast effects, like some kind of like different like fire effects for his hands, but he's fine as is. They're using the original Human Torch effects. He just has a wider range of articulation than everybody and a great array of accessories. And I just find that he is a really good figure. He's the powered down Johnny Storm with the face that we've been looking for a long while. Everyone's been using the Ben Reilly Spider-Man parts for him for the head, and I'm glad we finally have an actual Johnny Storm head. I have different versions of Fantastic Four that I'm actually keeping, so I'm keeping that one with the Ben Reilly head, this one with the Johnny Storm head. I love the deco on the back, and it's a really nice figure. It comes with 2 fists, one fist, and then the other fist over here. And they don't have wrinkles on them. You can actually differentiate that between the figures. You can also apply these malleable kind of flame effects to his arm, or you could put it onto other parts of his body. On his head, maybe as a crown or a bandana or something. I like to attach it to his legs, since his hands are already on fire. It kind of makes it match around a little bit better. But overall, this guy's a really solid figure, and I like him a lot. Yeah, he's my number 2 figure in the wave. But we all know what number 1 is, and a lot of you are saying, get to number 1, and I'm like, alright, I'll get to number 1. If there were ever a Marvel Legend figure to get, it would be Dr. Doom. He's the perfect Marvel Legend to ever exist up until this point. I don't see how they could top it, though. Dr. Doom is one of the leading villains in the Marvel Universe, and he's just sort of perfect. He's one of the best villains that faces several different heroes, and it's finally here. The classic Dr. Doom that everyone's been waiting for. I'm just really excited we have this guy. His articulation's great. His posing is really good. And I just find this guy to be really standout in the Marvel Legends Pantheon. The head articulation is pretty interesting in this guy. It can go down and up, but also there's an interior kind of ball joint right in here when you take off his cape. I mean, look at that cape. It's beautiful. It kind of moves around a little bit here and there, but it's separate from the tunic, which is actually this sort of molded kind of thread. It looks fantastic. It's plastic, but it's just amazing. These rocket boosters right here are really nice, and you can actually peg things into them. He just is this like nice little technological marvel of action figure. It's just great. He has a little D on his gun for Doom. You could take this little gun pouch and take the gun out. It's the same kind of gun we've seen years ago with the way old Toy Biz Dr. Doom. It's pure black, but it's still great. You can put the gun back in here if you don't need to use it. You can close this little pouch up. He comes with extra other hands, but where did I put them, you wonder? And I actually put those other hands to use with a separate spare Doctor Doom that I had. It's my classic Doctor Doom. We have modern and then we have classic. So the classic Doctor Doom, just real quick, has the M'Baku cape, the old school Doctor Doom head right here, as opposed to the modern with all the rivets and everything, and looks kind of older. The detail on these guys are really good. They're the same exact figure, just different heads, a couple of different accessories, but they're just sort of really perfect. I love how this cape works on him. Just J.J. Hernandez, a different reviewer, put the cape on him, and I like how this looks with the classic Doctor Doom. He has great articulation, great color scheme. He's Doctor Doom. He's awesome. He comes with these different hands, like we got over here. A gun-holding hand, and then a claw hand, and we also got 2 fists that come with him. Also pointing out that Doctor Doom has this nice waist articulation, where it can move all the way around, for this one at least, because there's no cape to hinder it, unlike this one, where it's kind of hindered by the cape. You can't really move it back too much. But on both, he has really nice leg splits. He has a slit in the side of his tunic, and that looks really cool too, because it provides for a lot of good articulation, but it doesn't sacrifice the sculpting or how it looks. A lot of people say it's too long of a tunic, but for me, it looks really nice and kind of modest at least. But that sums up Doctor Doom. He's phenomenal, perfect, has great sculpt, articulation, paint, and he just looks really menacing. You can also have a second one and do this great custom shown here. I don't see why not. He's just perfect in every way. Enough said. So here we have Super Skrull as our Build-A-Figure, and I really like him. He's not my favorite Build-A-Figure because he reuses a bunch of parts, but, you know, he's still good. His articulation doesn't really allow him to go above this shoulder pad, but it still works pretty well. He has your normal Hyperion body articulation, and that's fine by me. I'm really okay with this guy. I like how the customization of him provides that you could change his arms out, you can change out his effects and what he does and what he can do. But other than that, he's just sort of your standard figure. His legs are really hard to get on, which is sort of a point of contention amongst a lot of people, wondering why that's hard to get on for his legs. You got to heat them up with actual heat. Speaking of heat, this flame effect, people were putting it on the wrong way. The flame goes up the arm, and this flame piece wraps around the pinky, like so. You can actually change his head out if you'd like. For the more stern head, he comes with 2 different heads. He also comes with different arms. If you want to make him a regular Skrull, a Skrull soldier, you just put the arms in. But the detents are kind of tight on these arms. I more prefer him personally with the Super Skrull arms, but these arms have your standard normal Marvel Legends Hyperion body articulation. No real trouble at all there. But these arms are way better. I like this effect where the color goes from clear all the way down to purple into the bicep, into the shoulder. And also the shoulder pieces are different as well as the arms. Both arms are like asymmetrical, which is pretty interesting, as the arm is transforming from invisible and stretchy over to thing-like and rocky and fiery. But personally, this head is way better on him, this smiling head. In lieu of wanting to use this head, I use this paladin body, and it works well as a Skrull soldier and a Super Skrull, both ready for battle. And a lot of people I've seen get several heads and put them on these bodies, and it works out really well. Overall, Super Skrull himself is a really good Build-A-Figure. We use a lot of parts, he has a lot of customization options, and I find him to be awesome. He's just a really great figure to have, and he just looks really nice. I just, think he's a little bit of reuse here and there. So that's my review of the Wave. Overall, this Fantastic Four Wave is fantastic. It's not as great as the Walgreens Fantastic Four figures, but they're really solid and incredibly good in their own right. I know I was kind of harsh on them, but I think that this Wave is actually pretty good as a whole. Dr. Doom is just excellent and perfect as a Marvel Legends figure. You can make him into a sort of future version, then a past version, and give him that cool coat with the fur on it. There's also Human Torch, who is really good in his own right, has great articulation, has great accessories, and a great face sculpt finally for Johnny Storm. We also have She-Hulk, who is good in her own right. She can't really scan too well sometimes, and she has fists and these little grabby hands, but I just find that I use fists way more often when posing her, and I just think she's a good figure. Doesn't really do that much for me as far as I don't really know who she is in the canon. Thing is good. People say he looks like a giant Cheeto. I think he looks great. It's just a matter of opinion. He should have come with separate hands. He needs a little more oomph to him as far as like a paint wash or something, but overall he's really good and bulky. Finally, people can get a Thing without clamoring over the Walgreens figures. Sue Storm is good. She comes with an amazing effect, the shield. I just find her standing to be lacking and her articulation to be kind of gummy. She's just okay. Head sculpt's good, body's just okay, and the shield is excellent. Mr. Fantastic is okay. He's run of the mill. Same as we've seen before. Really stupid accessories, great head sculpt, but that's all there is to him. Super Skrull is awesome. Really imposing. He's got 2 different heads, but I like the fact that you could change him out with the arms and the other heads. Make him look like a soldier, make him look like a Super Skrull. You got options, which is nice for action figures, and I'm glad that they're giving us more options. Dr. Doom Custom is good. I like him. He's more of a past version. The other one's a future version, as I said before. And the Super Skrull Soldier, or the Skrull Soldier as we'll call him, he's alright. Just a plain paladin body with a Super Skrull head, the frowning one. And that's my review of the Fantastic Four wave with the Super Skrull Build-A-Figure. Thank you so much for watching Jesse Heck Creative. Please make sure to like, subscribe, or share if you want. You can also visit us at our website, jesseheckcreative.com, for weekly updates, sometimes daily now. Take care, and I hope your day is fantastic.